research, I have a hard time letting go of that. So if there's a tool that can help me find what I'm looking for a lot easier and give me options, then that would be phenomenal for me.
Awesome. And Mike, what about you?
Just not entirely sure how to best utilize it. And I keep thinking, especially after yesterday's class, that I should subscribe to one of these services, but there seem to be so many, and I'm just really at a loss where how to progress and if I can even use it that way, that much.
Awesome. Well, this is going to be a perfect class because we're going to start really slow and just kind of lean into how to start using it. So, what I would recommend before you guys go out and buy any subscription service is to use the free versions just to kind of learn about it and see how it's working. The awesome thing about the Keller Williams tech stack is that you guys have access to Gemini Pro for included.
Okay,
And Gemini 3 actually has been outperforming ChatGPT recently.
nice.
So it is one of the top AI models.
Okay,
So right now I'm just logged into my Google Keller Williams account. So up here you'll see I'm actually in the DFI one. Let me jump over to my Keller Williams one. The technology is hard for everyone.
it is harder for some of us.
Okay. So here I am in my Google Keller Williams account. These 9 dots up here give me access to see all the Google apps that are available. So you're probably familiar with Gmail, Drive, Docs. It also has Gemini in here. It's the little star symbol. It might be a little bit lower down for you guys. They just kind of sort them on how often you use them. But if we go ahead and click on that, it just pulls us straight into our Gemini search engine. So I'm going to close this side tab right here to start out with. This is just all my previous chats.
Okay.
And we're going to focus right here in the middle where we just have our prompt box. And then some little additional options. So this plus button is if we want to add files to it. We've got some tools we can connect. Over here, this one's pretty important. This one is our switching between models. So we've got a fast model, which just answers quickly. This is more for like quick thoughts like, hey, I'm thinking about sending this email. Here's some wording. What do you think? Where this Thinking Pro is more for analytical tasks. So maybe you're putting a net sheet together and you want to share some files with the chatbot and you want to make sure it's thinking through things before spitting it out. You'd switch to this Thinking Pro model. And then over here, you've got a microphone. So if you don't want to type, you can just talk to it and have it talk back to you. So that's what Marcus was showing off on Tuesday, is this microphone function where he was talking to ChatGPT or Gemini and just having it talk right back. So right now we're going to start with just a simple task. We're going to talk about writing an email. So let's say we've got a client who is wanting to see a couple properties, and we're just trying to write an email with a nice tone, talk to them about, what times we're available, and we want it to come across professional. So what would you guys start off with this prompt box? How would you start prompting Gemini to create this email for you?
Write an email to client about
And we can just continue to make up the scenario as we
Sure.
go. Yeah.
Okay.
Write an email to a client, let's say about 3 homes I'm showing this weekend. What else do we want the email to pop out? What's our end desire? What's the result we want it to give us? Mike, do you have any ideas of what we should add?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Okay,
So I would say make it a warm, welcoming introduction. And a call to action, a call of action in, you know, if there is any more homes that they want to see.
nice. I like it. I'm gonna say we've already chosen the 3 properties. And in our phone call, let's say we set a time. So here I'm just gonna say we planned on starting at 3 o'clock.
In like,
And let's just see what this pops out. So the really cool thing about this is it's gonna craft the email for you in a format that goes right into your Gmail.
nice.
So here it creates a subject for us. Your Saturday home tour is set. 3 late homes at 3 p.m. So, hey, client, I hope you're having a great weekend. I'm so excited for our home tour this Saturday. I've put together a wonderful schedule for you, and I truly believe the 3 homes we're visiting offer a great blend of what you're looking for in the Layton area. So we can see it's pretty generic. However, it sounds really good. One thing, if we were looking to narrow down what it was giving us, is we could have said, you know, their budget, they're looking at these homes between 400 and 500,000. We could have given it the specific addresses of the homes. We could have given it an order. So here it's telling us, please fill in the addresses right here. And then it's giving us, you know, what is this home? It's updated kitchen. So it's just kind of assuming what we're seeing, but we probably need to go in and update that.
Sure.
If our prompt had beforehand told us or told Gemini that the houses have updated kitchens or that they are in acquired neighborhoods, it wouldn't have to assume and it would put it in there for us. So from here, we can actually come in here and start editing the email right inside of Gemini. So it makes it really easy that it integrates straight into your email. I can bold things, use my normal editing tech stack that I would see in Gmail. And right here in Create, I can add some more stuff. But I'm just going to go ahead and hit. Let's see where you. Okay, I think the easiest way to just grab this is a copy and paste to go into our Gmail.
Okay.
So it's just easy. This will stay the same format when we copy it into our email. So I can just do Control C, jump into my Gmail. And it's ready to go. And you'll see it just kept the subject up there.
Perfect.
If I'm done editing and seeing this email, I can go ahead and hit this close button. And it's going to take that away from me. And then I've just got my chat up here. It's talking to me about that's exciting. Here's my email draft. So if I ever want to go back and revisit it, I can just open it right here. How's that? Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
Mike, any questions?
No, I actually missed. How do you actually get to Gemini as a KW person? You got to log into just KW?
Yeah, so you'll just log into your KW Gmail account. So here I'm just logged in as to my Gmail account as bradleygreen@kw.com. I've got access to my KW email. And from here, I can click on these 9 dots or any application I'm in. So if I'm in my account, or if I jump into just Google search, I'll always have these 9 dots in the corner. And by clicking that, I can get straight into Gemini, which will be one of these apps.
I actually like that better than ChatGPT because you can edit it on the side. Like ChatGPT, you have to copy it, paste it, then go back and edit it.
Yeah, it's kind of nice where you can edit it right inside of the app and then bring it over to your email. And when you edit it, Gemini is going to be seeing that you've made changes. So if you go ahead and we can jump back into this email. If I go ahead and edit this, oh, and it'll say it updated a little bit. You can say, I take her away this great weekend. I think that's good. Go on, and I come back. It's not there. So it remembers the edits that I've made. Mike, did that help you get back into Gemini?
Yes, that is great. Thank you. I did it on my own and I get it. Thank you.
Awesome. So what I'm aiming at is we can just kind of ask questions and see what it pops out. So, Fabian, we were talking about you want to cut down on the research. We can just say,
Let me give you an idea.
Yeah, give me an idea.
Best contract for a new team member on a real estate.
Let's give it some more context so it
Okay.
knows what we're
Okay.
looking for.
Okay.
How big is your team right now?
The team is small, so team of 3. This is someone who's going to be carrying out all the duties of real estate, from showing homes to listing properties. Let's see. It will be a year contract. There will have to be a room for how compensation will take place. There will be responsibilities outlined by the team leader, and there will be accountability and measurements defined as well. There will be a 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day review. Is that too complex for an initial session for us for this thing, or do you think?
No, this is good.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add?
Yes, the contract will also define the culture of the team and the vision of the team. And I guess we should plug all that in at some point, but
Yeah,
just to start, what else would it be wise to?
I think let's see what it kicks us out with this.
Okay.
And if you guys didn't hear, Fabian was talking about, we added in this prompt to have something about the culture and vision of the team. This is something that we'd want to add into our prompt or share documents with our chat of saying, what is the actual culture and vision? So it knows what it's going to put out here. So right now it's just saying, our culture is built on these 3 core pillars, but it's coming up with this based on our chats and not what we gave it.
Correct.
So it's just kind of
This is
guessing.
very generic, but it's
Exactly.
conglomerate of information found doing quick research.
Exactly. So this is a very generic one, but if we wanted to get a little bit more specific, we'd continue sharing information.
Yeah, this would have taken me days to come up with this stuff.
Yeah. So Fabian said it would have taken him days. Here we've got something where we've got a pretty, good outline, and we can just go in here and go, okay, metric, closed units, sales volume. Maybe we don't want 5 per month. We're thinking 1 because they're a new agent, just
Consultations,
brand new.
look
Oh.
like consultations, five might be okay, yeah.
Let's do closed transactions 5. Here we can specify quarterly or annually. Termination gives us some places to put in our name. And then we can just go ahead and copy and paste this and move this over to Docs or wherever we want to use it. We could print it out if we wanted to save it as a PDF. So this might be where we make all the edits in here and then print it.
But you have a good base to go off of and good.
Exactly.
ideas. Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people who initially get into this struggle with is they think AI is capable enough to do everything for them. And they think, okay, when Marcus says this saved them $50,000 a year, it's going out and selling homes for them. Where it's not doing that, it's mostly just saving time.
Okay.
So it's like this example, Fabian, you've got a new team member and you're like, shoot, I have to put together a contract. I don't have time to do all this because, I'm busy selling 10 homes a month.
Well, and I don't wanna spend a lot of time recreating the wheel on something that it's been done over and over and over and over again.
Exactly.
Just want a
And-
basic version of it.
And even going out and doing the research and saying, hey, where are some examples of contracts that I can start copying from? Takes some time.
Sure.
Where in this prompt, we can say, we could have said, go and find other contracts that have been used that you would recommend. And we just have an outline where we can start and save some time.
Perfect.
Mike and Melanie, do you guys have any use case scenarios that you guys have been thinking about using it for?
I've been using, you're gonna laugh. Probably not laugh because you know me, but I've been using AI a lot to come up with responses. Like I just had a client that I had been following up with since February, and they live in Georgia and they're moving back here, and they had listed their house in Georgia last year and it didn't sell. And I was like through with them through that whole transaction, like help because they had already had it listed by the time I was introduced to them. So I was like going back and forth, like trying to help the realtor there of like different ideas. And today she just throws on me, well, we have a realtor in Utah that we use. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, where was that realtor all that shit? What are you doing? So I was like,
Yeah.
chat GPT this. How do we respond? And then I was like I still am in the middle of it. I'm glad you showed us because I wanted maybe I'll pull up Gemini to be like how do you keep a follow up with somebody like that? You know what I mean? Where like they're not technically signed with another agent. They just think they might use a different one. Like, what are things I can still promote to them to make them choose me when the time comes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's really good because, Gemini, ChatGPT do not have emotions, which has its limits, but also can be very valuable. It's like Melanie, I had the same thing where I was working with this person and I was getting super excited to show them this home. And then like, oh, we've actually already signed an agreement with an agent. And I'm like, why am I sending you listing alerts? Why are we doing all this stuff and you saying, I love working with you? Let's sit down and talk about the value you provide. And then right before we go see the home, you tell me you've already signed with an agent. That's something where I went in and go, okay, I'm mad at this person. What is a good response where I can continue to nurture them and not be like, what the heck, bro? And hopefully get referrals out of them or something in the future. Where it's something, it's not angry like I am in the moment. So it's gonna create a little bit better and calm of a response.
Right.
Mike, what about you? What's something that you think we can run through really quick or that you've been trying to use Gemini for?
Well, I haven't been using Gemini. Thanks for telling us about it. But I am doing open houses and kind of curious what would a typical buyer be looking for? Like what kind of information and how can I best uh, support that person who comes into the open house.
Yeah, so give me an idea of a prompt. What do you think you would ask to figure this out?
Well, how about holding an open house, and what what would a typical potential buyer like to know? How could I prove to him my worth as a buyer's agent? Him or her, I guess. Doesn't I guess it'll figure that out.
What's the easiest way to build rapport with the prospect?
Good point. Yeah, that's a great one.
You guys know how to spell rapport?
Double P.
Double P? What else can we add to our prompt to give it a little bit more context?
Maybe add a follow-up schedule for him, like when someone's come to your open house, like what's the best schedule to follow up?
Maybe we tell them that the open house is going to be on Saturday from 11 to 2. What else do you guys have?
What kind of questions can I ask someone walking through an open house to keep them engaged?
Okay, let's get one more in there. Either context or asking it to give us a result. So context would be open house is on Saturday 11 to 2. Result is what kind of questions should I ask to keep them engaged? Let's give them some more context. Maybe about, what is something that you think you're good at providing? Or who is your goal client? A good one could be, how much is the home worth? And we could say a location. Mike, is there anything else you want to add?
Oh, I think that's great.
Okay. Let's see what it comes up with. So here it's creating another canvas for us to copy into Docs. We can turn that off right here. It's something I actually kind of like, but if you don't want it, we can just turn it off and then it will give me the answer straight in here. So over here, I'll jump back into our previous chat. And you'll see if I expand this menu, these are all my previous chats. So if you had something where, I've been working on getting flooring for my new house. If I'm going through and I go, oh, I forgot something in my flooring bit analysis, I can jump back into this chat and say, remind me the total cost for this project. And it's going to look through the chat and say, okay, I'm going to remember everything we've talked about. Your total cost was $9,289. So I can pick back up with previous chats and continue talking with them. So, in our research case, we go in, we're putting in our contract, putting it together. Life gets busy. I go and do some other chats, work on some other things. I can come back to it a few weeks later and resume where I was. Because that's one of the things they've really been working on. And what's making it stronger is the memory of these AI agents. Sorry, I like to jump around. we'll jump back in. Mike, here's your open house strategy guide for Layton, Utah, $500,000. This guide provides actionable strategies for engaging prospective buyers, providing your value, and establishing an effective follow-up program. So what does a typical buyer want to know? They want to know about the property, how old is the roof, HVAC, water heater, and what are the utility costs? Actually, when I first got my license and before I held open houses, I just put together a list of all questions I thought I might get asked and went to a bunch of open houses and started asking them to the agents.
Smart.
And I kind of went, okay, this agent was prepared. I want to have open houses like this. And then some I was like, okay, this agent did not know anything about the house, didn't really talk to me. I had a bad experience. I will not be like this agent. So that's kind of like how I was at first experimenting how I wanted to hold open houses.
Good answer.
So here's the key information that it tells you to provide, age, energy efficiency, things that are great selling points for less maintenance. How is it priced to others nearby? How much wiggle room is there on the price? And that one might be a little bit harder if you're representing the seller. Having 3 recent comparables. What's the neighborhood like? What's the commute to schools and parks? I actually held an open house last week, and they had open house guides printed. The agent did for here's where all the schools are that you'll be in. Here are the closest grocery stores. And I was like, this is a step above what I've been providing. I've just been giving them the MLS sheet. And if they're a super serious buyer, that's probably something they want to see. Sale or closing, why are the owners selling? How quickly do they need to move? HOA fees. Now we jump into providing your worth as a buyer's agent. How do we shift the conversation from the house and the market to your local expertise? Don't just show them this house, show them where it sits in the market. I think that's a pretty good idea. Show them why you think the house is priced at this point. Negotiation and strategy. Buyers are worried about bidding wars. Show them your strategy. Future inventory access. What homes can you show them in the future? Transaction management. How do you help them handle stress? Here's our building rapport with the prospect, the easiest way. You should find common ground. And then it gives you some example questions. Use active listening, why it works, and an example. You should offer specific and non-sales help. So the school boundaries here are a bit tricky. I can email you the exact district map later if that will be helpful. That's something where, one client I've been working with was like, hey, I need to stay in the school district for our son. So that could be something super helpful if you're asking the right questions and uncover that. Then we hit in engaging questions to ask somebody. When they first walk in, welcome. Is this your first time looking in Layton? Have you been in the market for a while? What was it about the location that made you want to check this out? How did you find the open house? The discovery while they're touring, point out features like the kitchen island. Is outdoor space a high priority for you? Aside from size, what is the feeling you are looking for in a master suite? I think this one's good because I showed a house the other week where there was no door to the bathroom. It was just a big empty wall. And they walked in, loved the house. We saw the master bedroom, and they're like, we do not want to be pooping while the other person's sleeping.
Right.
And I said, that is completely fair. It would be really nice to have a door right there. And then it's got to close as they leave. Based on what you've seen today, does this home make you want to move forward with your search? I think going into this, you'll probably know a lot about what they are looking for after you've asked these questions. So you might even know and say, you know what, this house doesn't seem like a great fit for you. And then our optimal follow-up schedule. Immediately an email. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Here's what I, told you how to get you. The next day, you got a low pressure text or quick call. Tuesday morning, add value with an email. Friday, a final check-in. How does that feel for you guys?
Right?
Melanie, Mike, do you guys like that? Mike likes it. And if we do not like this, like we want our optimal follow-up schedule to be a lot more aggressive, we can tell it. I want the follow-up schedule to be once a day for a week. And that's the only feedback I gave it on this. So it's going to go through, leave the rest alone. And he's going to update the open house strategy guide for a daily follow-up. So here you can just see that adjusted live time in our canvas. We've got one Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay, how does that feel for you guys? Pretty easy, not too bad?
I like it.
I like it.
It just popped up and said, do you want like your Sunday CMA email script made for you, right? So then as you're asking a question, it's gonna ask you more, like, give you more stuff too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. So one really cool thing about this Gemini Pro that you guys have access to is if you use your Keller Williams email. So
By Keller Williams, you mean
the one that's the KW.
for the command?
So not necessarily for command, but like if you use the one that's at kw.com.
Okay,
So up there, I've got Bradley Green at kw.com. This is just the account you would use to access Gemini.
okay,
And some people do their own personal emails and have this one forward it to them. But you guys will have access to this even if you don't use it as your main email.
sure.
If you do use it as your main email, you actually have access, and this comes with Gemini Pro. So if you buy this with any of the other ones, you'll have access as well to using Gemini inside of Docs, Sheets, and your email. So here I can ask Gemini, I'm inside my email. I clicked on this little Gemini button up here. I want to say, find all emails from Allison Brown. So here I'm just using Gemini right in my email as a search function, but I'm also going to use it as a filter. So here it's pulled up all of my emails from Allison. Let's see if I can find one. Here's a good one about being on the market. I'm going to say, summarize this email. So here I just pull up a big email. I don't want to read it. So I get this little summary. So Allison's Brown email announces the listing is live, including a link to the MLS. Tells them to prepare for showings. And Amy Whittemore has replied, wonderful. Let us know if we need anything. So really easy where you can, if you're summarizing things, need a quick update on this email thread that's been going for months, and you just need a reminder, hey, what are we talking about in this? What are we at? Where are we at in this stage? Gemini can give you an update on that whole email thread right inside the browser. Okay, any questions about the Gemini inside your browser?
Yeah, so if I have Google open, or Chrome, I guess, do I have to log in as the email that I have set up for KW in order to access that other stuff from Gemini, or
Yeah,
I just go in as my Gmail?
so you'll need to be in your KW email
Okay,
because this Ask Gemini inside of your apps is a part of the Gemini Pro version
got
that is paid for by KW.
okay,
So if you wanted to use it in personal emails, it would just be a subscription you pay for, similar to like ChatGPT. But with Gemini being owned by Google, they integrate it to all their apps for you.
Okay,
So make it
okay.
easy.
Okay, got it.
Mike, Melanie, do you guys have any questions?
You keep talking about a pro version. Is that what we have?
Yeah, so up here you'll see the version of Gemini that comes with your KW account. Right here it says Pro.
Yeah.
If I log into, I think I have it actually on every account. Let's see if I can find a free one. Um, so right here in my personal one, you'll see it doesn't show this Pro up here in the corner. And that just means I've got limited chats with it. It's not going to integrate right into my email or my docs. So, I can still talk to it like and ask it all the same things I would with the Pro account that KW has. But some of the extra features like having it in your email or having it in your Google Sheets won't be available.
Okay. And does it time out eventually, or does it run out of queries?
I've never had the Pro through KW run out of queries.
Okay. Like
So,
GPT does on the free version.
yep. So this is actually the one I've kind of moved to. And I did so hesitantly at first because I preferred ChatGPT and I preferred Claude. And I still like Claude for other reasons. But I've actually stopped using ChatGPT because I don't have the paid version. And this one's performing at this point just as well and better at some points. And then the fact that I have it inside my email, inside Google Docs, inside spreadsheets, inside presentations has made it so much more powerful where I can use it anywhere. Like I don't have to upload a spreadsheet. I can be in my spreadsheet and Gemini's already there looking at it and can answer questions. So like my spreadsheets, I don't even write formulas anymore. I just write prompts of saying, hey, I want to do this. Can you make it happen? And it will go and create all the formulas in the spreadsheet to make that work.
That's awesome. So the spreadsheet you did on the budgeting model for next year,
Mm-hmm.
did you create it with Gemini?
I did not. I actually coded that and it's a online website. But I did use Gemini for like, hey, I'm getting this error. What does this mean?
Hmm. Interesting.
Fabian, what was your question?
The question was, how can you upload stuff to Gemini? Like if you have a doc or a PDF or something, and you want to use it in relationship to, let's say that I had 3 versions of the contract that we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to feed it to Gemini to consider for the response
Yeah.
that I'm looking for. How
So
do you upload that?
you can just come in here to this plus button.
Yep. Okay.
And you can upload straight from your drive.
Okay.
So if you have all of your documents in your drive,
Perfect.
they'll be linked there, or you can upload files.
Okay.
So like if you don't use your KW email and you're just going to start using it strictly to get Gemini Pro, you can download files to like your desktop. Here I went in and I'll grab this living room JPEG. And I'm also going to grab I'll just start with this one. Let's say I'm just grabbing this picture. I want to say change all the floors. Upload a picture of the house. And I just say, okay, let's talk to the client. They want to, envision what the house would look like if it didn't have any carpet. We can upload this. We can upload any text documents, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets. And with Gemini Pro, we can upload, I think they max out at 20 per conversation. So you can upload a ton of stuff and it'll look through all that. So here it just kicked out a picture for me with wood flooring instead of carpet. So not perfect, but pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially for like 10 seconds of thinking. Like I think that's That's pretty awesome. So one thing we can also do is if I open this menu, I've got this My Stuff tab up top. And what's cool about this is going to look at all the Canvas creations made for us. If you remember, those were the docs that I had. So instead of adding everything into a chat, it made it into a document for us to read. Our open house strategy guide, contract, client showing confirmation, as well as all pictures I've uploaded and had created, email drafts. This is all going to be in My Stuff. So if I'm ever going out and I can't remember what the chat was named, I can go in here and go, okay, here's my independent contract real estate agreement. Okay, here's what I was trying to find with this wall painted green instead of white. Here's a client email draft. Here's my Google Sheets chart missing data conversation. So that is all available for you in the stuff, and that isn't your chat. That's just the products from chats. So like the documents you created, that can be found there. You can also search for chats and anything. So if I go, okay, you know, I had a client showing confirmation, and I think I talked about a document in there. I'm going to look for a team agreement. And it said client showing confirmation email draft. That sounds familiar. I'll click on that. Okay, that's the stuff that had my team agreement in it. Then if I go through the chat and I go, you know what, I'm only using this for my team agreement. I don't care about the email confirmation, and I want to make sure I'm able to find this a little bit easier. On this left-hand side, we can go and rename the chats. So I can go rename, instead of client showing confirmation email, I'll rename it team agreement. And that way it's a little bit easier for me to find in the future. I can also pin it to the top. So it'll always be at one of these top two, while all my other chats will start filtering in for most recently used and then filter down. So down here, I would like you to, whatever these chats are, for the furthest away, these chats are the most recent. These two chats will always be at the top, even if I don't use them for years. So if you have something super important, you can pin it to the top. Over here, I've got files in the chat. So as we've been going through this chat and uploading files, I can go in and check, okay, which files have I uploaded and do I want to upload more? So here I've seen that this has created 4 files and I've uploaded 1 file. Okay, any questions so far? Mike, Melanie?
I got a couple that I'm just curious. Would you, I mean, being younger and probably involved in this kind of thing a lot more so than others we have heard from, would you give any advice in terms of other tools that a realtor ought to be using that maybe is any different than what we heard yesterday?
I would stick actually with Gemini. So I like ChatGPT and Otter. The cool thing about just being with the brokerage is that you've got access to the Gemini Pro. So it's just going to save you $20 a month instead of going out and buying ChatGPT Premium. And then Otter also has a free version as well. You get much more limits on how much you can record. But I think that's something where you kind of start using it and figuring out how it works. And then if you love it, you can pay the $20 a month. But I know, you know, it can be fun to go and buy all the fancy new things. I'm kind of just you have this version and
Use it.
you use it. You can't create folders like in Gemini. You can create the GPTs. So these, they call them gems in Gemini. They're the same thing as a GPT, where I've given Ivan the Instagrammer a whole bunch of documents on, you know, how to operate. So if I jump into Ivan, I've got his instructions. I've got all the knowledge base I've uploaded to him. So it's the same as a GPT. It's just the Gemini version. And if I go into Ivan, he's got all the conversations I've had just with him in the past. So I'm of the mind that you should save $20 and use this versus purchasing GPT Pro. But if you have like a preference, if you've like some people have been using ChatGPT
Right.
their entire time, if you love it that much, I think it's worth it then.
Okay.
Melanie, any questions?
I have a question after she's finished.
Nope, I don't.
Okay,
So
Mike, what's your question?
Bradley, it was mentioned, and you mentioned it too, that we need to train these uh, models or whatever you call them. And it seems like they ought to be trained already. What I don't quite understand.
Yeah, so our training is in the chat talking about what we want it to know and how we want it to respond. So if we jump into our conversation of the team agreement, we started with this email of saying, hey, we want this to be a warm introduction email. In here, we talk about creating a team. Let's see, not really a lot of training in here. In this, we're kind of training it saying we want to know the best schedule to follow up. So our training is more of our context that we're giving Gemini and telling it how we want to act. So generally, it's really well trained. If we want to get a little bit more specific, that's what the gems are for. So this Ivan the Instagrammer, he first reviews everything in his knowledge base. So these call to action documents, my content pillars, goals, niche, my story, and hooks. He looks at all this first and bases his answers off of these documents.
Okay.
So,
Well, so here's my question. I got the impression that maybe some of the training is like following the guidance in a particular book. Wouldn't this wouldn't ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever understand and know already what's in those books? And couldn't you just say, for simplicity, just say, please, give me this guidance in accordance to the instructions found in Atomic Habits, for example?
let's try it out. So here we're just saying, what are the top ideas for Atomic Habits? And it's giving me what it finds from the internet. So kind of to answer your question, Mike, is I'm not sure if the internet has a full transcript of Atomic Habits.
Mhm.
You know, this can definitely go out and find people's reviews on Atomic Habits and maybe lessons taught on the book. But I'm not sure if it has, every single word from the book.
Yeah.
So what we would call the training is if we got an entire transcript of this book and then uploaded it in the file, and then from there said, hey, I have uploaded James Clear's Atomic Habits. Using that book only, answer this question. So
Got
then
it.
it will only go through that book. And that's why we upload the MREA or some other documents. This training becomes super important when it's you uploading your value proposition. Because then, with Fabian's team agreement, he can say, write me a team agreement based on my value proposition, our virtues and values. And it's going to go in and see the team agreement he's built out or his virtues and values that he's built out. And it's going to migrate those into the team agreement. So then you don't have to go and do some more changing. It's already knowing, okay, we believe in integrity and working hard and all this other stuff. And it's going to just automatically put that language into your team agreement for you versus having something a little bit more generic that you'll have to go and change towards the end. So while it is trained massively on the internet, what we mean by training it is trying to train it to sound more like Mike or sound more like Fabian. So when you use it to write emails, someone doesn't pull it up and go, okay, thanks for this email, Chat GPT. I could tell you didn't write this because it
Doesn't
uses
sound like you.
keywords like hidden gem. Whenever I see Instagram posts that say, look at this hidden gem, I almost immediately go, I almost naturally go, okay, this was written by AI. So it's training, it's just to giving it your information, telling it how you talk to make it sound more human and make it sound more like you. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it does. Thank you.
Okay. See, I think we're almost out of time, but I want to make sure we covered most of the use case stuff. Okay, anything other that you guys are, how would I use this? I have an idea of how I want to use it, but I'm not sure how to implement it that you want to go through right now.
Between now and the next time we meet, what should we be doing? Should we be uploading the KPA? Should we be uploading photos, logos, things that define what we do in terms of feeding the database so that when we ask them to do something, it will use a similar style, or what should we be doing once we're done?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you 2 homework assignments. The first one is we're not going to upload anything yet,
Okay.
but I want you guys to start getting information for yourself.
Okay.
So in here, I've got my Ivan the Instagrammer. I've given him things like call to actions I like, content pillars that I want to follow in my Instagram, how I want the content to be structured, the goals I have, hooks, my niche, and my story. I want you guys to go through and start pulling out because we'll create one that's more general to you. So one's like, what are my story? What is my value proposition? What's my niche? What kind of things that I can provide that others can't? So just start coming up with things that you like that, tell me or tell other people about you and your team. So you can go, okay, if anyone needs to know what I stand for, I can give them this paper. And after they read it, they just go, oh, that's Fabian, that's Mike.
Okay.
And we'll start with that. And then as much information as you guys can think of, I would continue to add it. So if you go, for me, I say never use hidden gem. Come up with like a vocabulary list of what you like to sound like, what kind of words you like to use. Think, hey, when I talk about making an offer to a client, I say, what about this proposal for working together instead of here's an offer to sign my sheet? Any kind of like niche things like that, I'd start coming up with things to make it more human and make it sound more like you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Where did you say you put in the never to use?
So I would just create a folder in Gemini, or sorry, a folder in your Google Drive. So here I'll just jump into my drive. And I would go into just anywhere in here, and you can do new folder, AI folder. Oh, I already had one. And then start making these documents and just writing out, what is your story? What is your value proposition? That one I was like, what are words that you want to avoid? What is a vocabulary list you use? And that's more to make it sound like you. So, Mike, if you're like, I never use the word skibbity rizzler like Marcus did, you could say, and it probably won't pull that for you, but you could say, never use this word. Or if you love to say, like Tim did, this is glorious, you could say, I use glorious a lot. And that would go under a document I would call like vocabulary. Does that make sense?
Nope. But I think I get the idea.
Okay, start with just a few documents and write out what is your value proposition, what is your story and why you got into real estate, and then who is your target audience. So what kind of buyers or sellers do you like working with the most, and how do you help them?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Melanie, any questions about that?
Yeah, I have another question. So are you saying Gemini accesses the AI, your folder here?
Yeah, so I shared access with this to Gemini. So here, all these folders are right, or all those documents are these ones right here.
Okay.
So I went in and shared them. It's not going to look at them, just all of them. So anything you create, it doesn't have access to. But I specifically gave it access to these ones.
Okay. So let's say that there's something that is online that you know is online. Let's say the Constitution, for example.
Yep.
And uh, so can you just tell it to, base something on the Constitution? Use that as rather than trying to train it and give it and upload that whole thing, because I'm thinking about space that you got to use.
Yeah, you definitely can. The more you want it to be stronger, the more I'd put it into this knowledge base. So with this, it's going to go and look at these first before it goes out to the web to look at for like other resources for information.
Okay.
So like if you were making one specifically on the Constitution that could answer any like constitutional law question, I would upload that in here because that's the first thing it should be referencing.
Okay. Very good.
Okay,
Thanks for
and then
explaining that.
the second part of your guys' homework, I just want you guys to spend some time going through some prompts and just trying to use it either for fun, for work, using the 3 T's, your task, topic, task, topic, and format. So what is the task? What is the topic, or what is the context around this task? And then tone and format, how do you want it to sound? And then I just want you guys to go through, what does it look like writing an email with that? What does it look like creating an Instagram post? What does it look like summarizing a document for you? What does it look like if you wanted to see yourself with a mullet and just want to try out a new haircut? And we'll just keep it, some very like things you can definitely use, and then we'll go from there. And I want you to come with uh, these examples documented so you can share next time with the group of how you used it and what the result was. Sound good?
Perfect.
Okay, and then part 2 of this class is going to be next Thursday at the same time.
Thank you, Bradley.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Any other questions before we end? Okay, great. Thank you, guys.